See, that one's taller than that one. So, the other one may be taller, but this one's a thick boy.
Hey, hi, my name is Rachel. This is my mom. Okay, we love to travel the world together.
5. Alright, you ready? Your serious face on.
Today is day 14 on our road trip, and we're exploring Monasterboice, the site of Newgrange, Knowth, and Dyan, massive 5,000-year-old passage graves. It's also home to Tara, the seat of the High Kings of Ireland, and it served as the spiritual and political capital of Ireland for centuries.
So I'm currently walking around Knowth, which is a Neolithic site that is 5,200 years old, which is crazy. This is pre-Stonehenge. This is like old. And it's incredible. There's been done some reconstruction to maintain the site, but you can see as we walk around these massive original stones, which a lot of them have these beautiful carvings on. This is a sandstone, like local sandstone. The stones weigh around 6 to 10 tons. So crazy heavy, but they have these absolutely gorgeous carvings on them. And overall, it's just such a cool site. It's really cool to be here. So we just finished our tour of the inside of Newgrange, and it was absolutely incredible. It's so cool to be actually inside the tomb. Unfortunately, we can't bring cameras in there, so we couldn't show you, but it's definitely a must-see. And they did a reconstruction of the way the sunlight falls on the winter solstice, and it was just goosebumps all up and down my arms. It was just such a cool way to experience what it would have actually been like. So such a cool spot with so much history, and you can just feel it seeped in the rocks. Nice cozy little home. So I'm standing beneath the Monasterboice cross, which is this incredible high cross, and it's in really great condition, and you can see so many of the carvings on it. And this is the east side, which is usually, I believe, where they would have put scenes like the resurrection, or in this case, the last judgment at the very centerpiece of the cross. And then you can also see it kind of tells the story of the Bible, which would have been really important because a lot of the people at that time were illiterate, so they wouldn't have been able to read the Bible for themselves. So they could come here on pilgrimage and see it laid out in stone. There's Adam and Eve with Cain and Abel. There's Moses striking the rock and water coming out. There's Magi visiting Jesus, and then the final judgment at the top. And so it's a really cool example of how the early Christians were reached in these areas. It's crazy when thinking about the construction of these crosses, because when you look at it, the main part of it, the center cross, is all one piece of stone. And then the capstone at the top and the base stone at the bottom are another two pieces. But it's just this massive piece of stone that they would have had to quarry at full size, somehow transport it to wherever they were making it, and then it would have taken years of carving with just chisel and mallet to create these masterpieces. And it's just incredible the amount of effort that went into building these crosses.
There's not much left to see of the glory of Tara, but you can still make out the royal enclosure, an oval fort in the center of which is Cormac's house containing Leofol, the Stone of Destiny. Leofol was one of 4 great treasures brought to Ireland by the Tuath de Danann, the others being Gaia a sail, a spear that never missed its mark, Fraigarach, a magic sword of light, and Andri, the cauldron of plenty. After defeating the Firbolg, Nuada, the king of the Tuath de Danann, took up residence at Tara. He planted Leofol in the king's enclosure, and when he placed his hand upon it, it cried out, proclaiming him the rightful king of Ireland. After the coming of the Malaysians and the defeat of the Tuath de Danann, the splendor of the king's high seat at Tara was plundered, its spoils divided, and its great halls falling into silence and grim decay. Leofol alone remained, a sentinel to the kings of old.
So once again, we are doing a post-production wrap-up video because we forgot to do it in Ireland. And today was pretty bittersweet. It was our last day in Ireland, which was kind of sad. Or not our last day in Ireland, but our last day on the road in Ireland before we headed to Dublin. And so it was kind of marked the beginning of the end. But I mean, it was also a really cool day. I mean, it was especially cool for you, right?
Right. Well, going into the portal tombs was pretty surreal. Tara was a little bit of a disappointment, I have to say. I had high hopes for Tara after all that I have read about the mythology surrounding that area. And really, it's like a big grassy park where kids are playing and people are just sitting. There's not much to see there. But going into Newgrange, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So we ended up in Trim. We stayed at Brogan's bar and hotel. Not something that I would recommend. It was very loud and very busy.
As if you knock out in like 5 minutes when you sleep. You did not.
I know, but however, if
you're a light sleeper, I would
and if there was no air conditioning, so if you had to open your window, that was a problem. But what happened to us is that we were parked outside, and so when we went to drop our rental car off, we discovered that one of the patrons, who had probably had too much to drink, had scraped the back of our rental car. So I just wanted to give a quick note about renting a car in Ireland, and that is that they do require that you have insurance, and if you want to use your credit card insurance, you have to get a letter from your credit card stating that you will be covered in case of an accident. And that's a lot cheaper than buying insurance from the car rental companies. Yep. And so that's what we did. And we rented the car through our Chase credit card. We got a letter from Chase. It was super easy. They put a $3,000 hold. The car rental company put a $3,000 hold on our card. That was all good. And I was a little worried in case we'd need to use it. But as it turned out, with the big scrape on the fender of our car, which cost like, I don't know, $2,000 for them to fix, it was no problem at all. We just submitted the claim with Chase and they took care of it. So I just want to give a shout out for them. Like, they were great with that. And it is definitely a lot cheaper doing it that way through your credit card company than through the car company. So, but anyway, that was kind of a little bit of a downer on our last day, but all in all, just an amazing 14 days on the road. And now we're off to Dublin for 2 days in Dublin, and then it's back home to the States.
This is all we got. Show me love. Show me love. This is all we got.
Check that you're actually filming.
Yeah. Do a good job. Not that I'm as using much of what I'm. Oops.
Were you not filming?
Yeah, I was filming.